Hi, hello, welcome back to the class, everyone. So, today we are going to learn about the security of the computer system, how to secure the computer system. So, this is a lab. In the computer lab, there is a teacher, there are several students inside the computer lab. Now, the teacher is explaining something to the students, right? Okay, let's see what is she telling to them or what is she asking from them. Children, do you know how to protect our computers? So one of them told by locking the computer laboratory. Yeah, we can protect the computer, right? By locking the computer laboratory. Another one, by locking the system unit. We can also lock the system unit also. Okay, well, all your answers are about the physical security of computers. So these are how to protect the physical security or how to protect the computer itself, right? The hardware, how to protect the hardware of the computer. As you know, a computer system has both hardware and software components. We learned it, right? We should protect both of them. So when we secure our computer system, we should secure the hardware part, also the software part. So let's learn how to protect the computer system, the hardware part and the software part. Let's protect computer system. It is essential to have adopted various prior protective measures for the safety and the durability of computers. The security of the computer system can be divided into two parts. So how many security systems are, sorry, how many parts are divided? The two. Okay. So we can secure our computer system in two parts. We can divide the we can divide the security of computer system into two parts. One, hardware security, another one is software security. Hardware security. Let's learn about the hardware security. So first of all, you should know what is a computer hardware. We already learned about the computer hardware. So computer hardware, you know, they are physical components of the computer. We can touch them and also we can see them with our eyes. Also, it has a defined or it has a definite shape. There is a definite shape for the components of the computer. As there are hardware devices outside of the computer, there are hardware devices inside the computer also. Inside the computer system. If you know the system unit, which everybody call as the CPU, that is not the CPU. Okay, it is the system unit. This one's name is system unit, not the CPU. You learnt about the CPU. I taught you about the CPU. The CPU is inside the system unit. This is the system unit. Okay. So the physical components of the computer system, the hardware, there are hardware which we can see them externally. From the outside, we can see them. Also, there are hardware devices inside the computer. These are internal hardware devices. So the hardware devices which are outside, which we can see it from the outside or which are visible in from the outside, can be the monitor, the mouse, the keyboard. These are in the outside. We can touch them, right? Also, there are another external hardware devices like the printer, the barcode reader, the scanner, the microphone, the speakers. All these things are outside the system unit, right? Inside the system unit, we have the RAM, the random access memory, which is the temporary memory. The hard disk, it is the storage device, the secondary storage device. The cooling fan, we are using the cooling fan to cool down the computer, right? To cool down the processor. You know that. I taught you that. The DVD drive. You should know that there are external DVD drives and internal DVD drives. So this is an internal DVD drive. It is already fitted inside the computer. There are some external DVD drives. It is portable. We can take them anywhere we go. The motherboard. Why it is called as the motherboard? Because all these components, all these internal hardwares are connected to the motherboard. The RAM is connected to the motherboard. The hard disk is connected to the motherboard. The cooling fan is connected to the motherboard. The DVD drive is connected to the motherboard. The power supply also connected to the motherboard. The CPU is on the motherboard. So all the components inside the system unit are connected to the motherboard. That's why it is called as the mother. It bears everything. Understood? Next, the power supply. Without the power supply, the computer won't work, right? Because we should supply power to the computer, right? So there should be a port to the computer to supply the power. So we use the power supply. And finally, the CPU, which is the important part of the computer system. Now you know the external hardware devices, which we can see them outside the computer, and the internal hardware system, which are inside the system unit. So how to protect this hardware? Before protecting this hardware, we should know what are the issues occurs in the hardwares, right? So the possible hardware security issues. We'll see what are the issues occurred to these hardwares. For an example, some main factors that may cause physical damage to hardware devices. So there are physical damages which can be occurred to a or which can be caused to a hardware. For an example, sudden flow of high voltage current. Okay, sudden flow of high voltage current. So when you, okay, volume up your volume there. Okay, that's why you are not listening to me. Increase your volume in your phone. Right. So the sudden flow of high voltage current, it can, or it is a main way that cause damage to hardware devices. For an example, each and every device of the computer or whatever the electronic device, it has its for an example, if we buy a blender or a grinder, it has its specific voltage current amount, voltage amount, okay? Then the voltage amount, if it receives a higher voltage current to that device, it can be damaged. Understood? Like that, the computer also has its unique voltage amount to get the current. Okay, so if suddenly a high voltage current supplies to your computer can be damaged. So you should be aware of that. So that is an issue. Another issue is sudden power failure. Last week we learned when we shutting down the computer, we should shut it down in a proper way. There are steps to shut down the computer, isn't it? So if you didn't shut down the computer in the proper way, okay, in the given steps, then what happens? Your computer can be damaged. Understood? So here it is like the sudden power failure also can cause damages to your computer, because suddenly your computer goes off. Okay, so it is another issue. Overheat inside the system unit. You know the system unit gets heat, right? The system unit gets heated. So because of this overheat, also the computer can be damaged. So you should be aware of the overheat also. Next one, dust gathering on computer hardware accessories or the devices and the insects. Because of these insects or because of this dust gathering, your computer hardware or the accessories can be damaged. Another one, issues related to theft. Okay, So, you know issues related to theft. So, your computer devices can be robbed by someone. It is also a issue which occurs in the computer hardware. So these are some ways that causes damages to hardware device. Okay, there are many more others, but these are some of the issues which causes with the computer hardware. Theft means someone can rob our computer devices like the hardware, the monitor, the keyboard, the whatever the hardware devices can be robbed, right? Understood? What is theft mean? Someone can come and uh, take our devices. It is a theft. So to prevent all these issues, there are some ways or there are some methods. So next one, precautionary methods to protect physical components of a computer. How to protect our physical components of a computer? What are the methods? What are the precautions can we take? First one, steps that can be taken to minimize damages caused to the computer by electricity. So there we learned that the electricity can cause damages to the computer. Okay. Now let's learn how to minimize these damages which are caused by the computer electricity. First one, we can use UPS, uninterrupted power supply. You know what is the UPS. Last week I told you about the UPS in detail. So why we are using the UPS? We are using the UPS as a battery, right? As a power supply to the computer when the electricity is cut. Okay. So during sudden power failure, UPS continues to supply power to the computer without interruption for a while. For a while, not for hours. Okay. So until you save all the documents which you have been doing in the computer, it gives you some time. Okay. So it enables to give sufficient time to save the current work and shut down the computer. So then you will have a small time to save all the documents, all the programs, to close all the programs and shut down your computer in the proper way. For that we are using the UPS. Okay, right. Next one. We can use the fuse. These are fuse. If you have seen the fuses. Okay. Prevents damages caused to computer due to sudden flow of high voltage current. So when a high voltage of current is supplied to your device, your computer can be damaged, right? It causes issues in your computer. So when this high voltage current comes to your computer, if you use a fuse, it goes to the fuse first. Then the fuse will get damaged, not your computer. It prevents the damages to cause your computer. Also, it is widely used in power supply units and etc. These fuses are used in the UPS also. Okay, the power supply unit, they use they use the fuse because when a high volume of a voltage comes or high voltage current is supplied to the computer, first it goes to the power supply, right? To this, then it has a fuse, then the fuse will get damaged, not your computer. So you can protect your computer using these fuses. However, at present, mini circuit breakers, MCB, are used in place of fuse due to easy use. So instead of these fuses, nowadays they are using the MCB. I will show you an MCB. And you have seen the MCBs. You have it at your home also. Your houses are using these MCBs also, as well as they use it in the computer laboratory, the MCBs. Next one, using surge protection. What are surge protection? Have you heard about the surge protection? Or have you seen the surge protection? These also available at homes. Protects the computer from high voltage current and lightning. So if lightning is there, it can damage your devices, right? So these surge protections, we can use them to prevent our computer get damaged from the lightnings also, right? So here you should know that when we connect this surge protection to the wall plug, we connect them, right? When we connect the computer to this surge protection, the electricity is divided here. It gives the needed electricity only. It divides the electricity and sends to the device, right? Another thing, controls the flow of high voltage current to the devices and sends it to the earth, as I told you, right? So these devices are used to prevent the damages which causes to the computer by electricity. UPS, fuse and surge protection. Here, can you see this one? See, so we can connect like this. Can you see here? Using the surge protection, we can connect many devices to the surge protector. Now understood everyone? This is a surge protection. You having it at home also. I don't think that there are, yeah, light multiplug. We are calling it as multiplug, but it is the surge protection. Okay? Everyone has it. Okay? Right. Good. Fine. So now you know the surge protection also. Okay, next one. Steps that can be taken to minimize heating inside the computer. So how to minimize the overheat inside the computer? We can use the AC, air conditioner. Installing air conditioners in the computer laboratory to control the heat. I know there are some laboratories, they are not using this air conditioner. There is a to minimize the heat, to control the heat, but there are some computer laboratories where there are AC air conditioners, where they have already installed the air conditioners, but they are not using that. Okay, for an example, there are some computer laboratories, they have air conditioners, but they are not using it because you know air conditioners take more electricity. For that, what they do, they switch off the air conditioner and just open the door of the computer laboratory and use the uh, air which is coming from the outside, which is the nature air. Okay, but it won't work out because everybody know, using the opening the door of the computer laboratory, okay, dust can be come inside the computer lab, so it damages the computer devices inside the computer laboratory, right? So if they are having the air conditioner, if they have already installed the air conditioners, it is better to use them inside the computer laboratory to control the heat of the computer laboratory, because you know, if there are many people inside the computer laboratory who are using the computers, when the computers are used and many computers are in process, then it generates heat. We should send these heatness outside the computer laboratory and keep the computer laboratory cool. Okay, so to control the heatness, we use this air conditioner. Next one, fixing cooling fans on devices which get heated highly inside the computer. Next one, steps that can be taken to protect the computer from physical harms. What are physical harms? For an example, It is essential to keep the computer laboratory clean and tidy in order to protect it from physical harm such as dust gathering, high moisture, and insects menace. For that, some steps that we can follow can be shown as follows. So dust can be come inside the computer. Dust can be gathered inside the computer laboratory. Insects like rats, ants, small insects can come inside the computer laboratory. So those things can harm our computer, right? So how to prevent it? Okay, what are the steps we can take to protect our computer from the physical harm? First one, let's remove the shoes when entering the computer lab. When you are entering the computer lab, you should remove your shoes and enter the computer lab. Why removing the shoes? Because if you put on your shoes and come into the computer lab, then dust can be gathered, right? Because your shoes already gathered by dust, okay, or mud. If you come to the computer lab wearing the shoes, then it can what happens? The computer lab can be gathered with dust and all these things. So it is better to remove your shoes outside the computer laboratory and enter to the lab. Next one, let's avoid taking food and drink inside the lab. Never ever take food and drink inside the computer lab, or even also when you are using the computer. Even if it is your own computer, prevent taking food and drink inside the computer. Why? Because okay, sorry. Food means whatever the food. It can be a sandwich, it can be a burger, it can be rice, it can be chewing gum, it can be sweet, it can be chocolate, toffee, whatever the food. Never ever take them inside the computer laboratory. Because when you eat food without your knowing, you can split these foods, right? Small tiny pieces of the food can fall in the computer or on your keyboard, on your table, on the floor of the laboratory. So then what happens? Ant can come. So it damages the computers in the laboratory. Because if ant comes to your computer laboratory, definitely they will go inside your computer, isn't it? Inside your computer, the devices are connected with tiny little wires. These ants can eat these wires. If any short happens inside the computer, then your computer will be damaged. For that, don't ever take food and drink inside your computer laboratory. Drinks, whatever the drink, liquid, it can be water, it can be drinks, it can be milk, whatever. Don't take. Because there are some students who are taking water bottles when they are entering to the computer lab. It is wrong. Don't take water bottles inside your computer laboratory. Next one, let's prevent insects and rats from entering the lab. How rats and insects enter the computer lab? Yes, they can enter. How? For an example, we'll say your computer lab is not tidy and clean. Everywhere there are boxes, there are books, there are CDs. So what happens here? Rats can come inside the computer laboratory. It is not clean, right? Insects also can come inside the computer laboratory. For that, you should clean your computer laboratory. Next one, let's keep the lab clean and tidy. Every day, you should sweep your computer laboratory and keep it clean and tidy. Next, let's keep the lab without moisture. Wetness, moisture means wetness. For an example, sometimes if it rains, your computer lab can get wet, right? So you should fix all the things without the water to come inside the computer laboratory. Next one, let's make use of air conditioners whenever possible. When you use the computer laboratory, make it as a use to use the air conditioner, to use the ACs inside the computer laboratory to prevent the physical damages. Okay. So these are some of the steps that can be taken to protect the computer from physical harm. By entering the lab without footwear, the computer lab can be kept free of sand and dust. I told you. Dust gathering on computer circuits or the devices can be prevented by cleaning all the computers in the lab at least once in every 3 months. In every 3 months, at least once you should clean all the devices and the computer laboratory. It should be happen. If you can clean the computer lab every month, it would be better, but at least once in a 3 month, you should clean your computer laboratory. Taking food in the lab can attract insects like ants to the food particle fallen on the ground, as I told you. Moisture in the laboratory may cause short circuit. Next one, steps that can be taken to protect from theft, from thieves. Making doors and windows of the laboratory in such a way as to be locked properly. You should lock your computer laboratory's windows and doors properly. So you should use safety locks. Protecting system unit by locking it. You can lock the system unit also. If you want, I can show you how to lock the system unit. See, this is a way of locking. This is a lock. There are numbers. Okay, if you want to unlock, you can unlock from these numbers. Laptops also can be locked. See, like this. No. Locking the system unit means locking it that nobody can open the system unit and take the devices inside the system unit. Okay, for an example, inside the system unit, there is the hardware. Sorry, there is the hard disk, there is the RAM, isn't it? So most of the people are robbing the hard disk. Okay, there are thieves who rob the hard disk. So we can prevent it by locking the computer or by locking the system unit. Nobody can take it. Locking means putting a lock. Okay, not locking to not to work like this. It is locking like this. Okay, so that they can't take it out, because these system units are like connected with screws, right? So they can remove the screws and take whatever inside the system unit. But if we lock the system unit like this, they can't open the system unit to take the devices inside the system unit. Now understood? So this is how it looks like. I don't know whether you can see or not. There are numbers here. So you can fix the numbers and open the system unit if you want. Okay. So this is how you can lock the system unit. Right. So protecting from the thieves, you can lock the system unit. And also you can use CCTV cameras. CCTV cameras, you can watch whoever comes to the laboratory, what time they go out from the lab, who came around the laboratory. You can check all these things, right? So you can protect the computers, or you can use these steps to protect from the theft. Thank you for joining the class, everyone, and have a nice day.